Hello, let's go for the second one. Questions and answers about the VI. As I mentioned some time ago, I only replied to Instagram messages because the video was getting super long. Also, the power kept going out. So today, since I finished fairly early, it's 4:45 and I think we have about 45 minutes of sunlight left. I'm gonna take this opportunity to do the Q&A that was missing, the one from YouTube, so I'm just gonna go boom, 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 boom. What else do you do besides the channel? I think I've mentioned it before. I have two businesses, let's say. One is related to social media and the other is digital marketing. I have an agency called Terrace, a studio, where I basically do marketing stuff. What plans do you have for the huge terrace? The main one. Okay, the villa's terrace, which is so big that it's in the back. The idea is to do a bit of everything. I would like to build a really cool big pool. In fact, I already gave you a brief idea of what the intention was, which was to make it more like a beach and all that, because I love beach-style pools. I haven't seen many, actually. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that has one. So I also need to find out how practical it is. If I see that it's practical and financially feasible, so to speak. That would be my idea and my intention, to make a beach-style pool. But I would also like to create a recreational area. Oh my goodness, those are thunderclaps. A recreational area. Where it was more like a place to play. No, actually, not play, I didn't mean mini golf to play. Then I would also like to make a kind of little house more focused on children. And then another area more focused on adults with a sofa, a chill out area, and a fireplace. One of those earthen areas, a covered area, let's say, where you could have a party at night, right? So to speak. Then near the pool, I would like there to be a little hut where, well, I know I get carried away, but anyway, I'm just saying. And then if it works out, great, and if not, well. I mean, don't take everything I say word for word because I don't know if it will be possible, but that's my intention. I would like to build a little hut near the pool, right next to it, with two beams coming out that have a mesh. And that way you can be half in the water, half out, you know? Like in the Maldives. When I explain, my parents just laugh and say, yeah, keep adding things. You said it was a squatted house. Are you concerned it could happen again? No one lives there. Will you protect it? It's very well protected with bars on all the windows and throughout the place. Additionally, we have 2 security cameras. One is part of a contracted service, so there are many cameras around the perimeter. If someone entered, they go off. And then we have others that are directly connected to our phones, so we can check what's happening at any moment. We also have various cameras placed throughout the house. So no, we're not really afraid. I mean, we're not afraid of someone breaking in. We've had some scares, I'm not going to lie. My mom and I are here, and whenever we hear a noise downstairs, it really frightens us. But, well, it would be practically impossible, wouldn't it? What happened with the apartment? Well, nothing. The apartment is just being rented out. In fact, there's a video where we go to do a deeper cleaning and to see what damage has been done to the apartment. And well, we go from time to time, take a look, and it's being rented out, so that's good. How do you organize yourselves? Well, normally we usually start the morning by meeting and distributing the tasks for each person. This way, everyone knows what to do and we help each other, right? And we coordinate it as best we can, but basically that's the way we do it. We get up, organize tasks, and then get to work. How did you start with the renovations? Does your father do that for a living? Well, we started with the renovations because Ivan and I bought our house and, well, we started doing little renovations like that. And, well, we wanted to do it ourselves because we didn't have the money to hire anyone, so we did it little by little. The truth is that we hadn't done anything, absolutely nothing before. I'd never even used a screwdriver before. I mean, I had no idea because besides, I had studied everything related to marketing. And, well, my job was more like sitting at the computer working. It wasn't manual at all, even though I've always really liked crafts and everything related to things like that. More artistic, drawing, doing fake nails, beauty in short, all these kinds of things I really liked. And well, it was like do-it-yourself started to spark my interest a little bit. And up to today, it's already been 6 years since we bought the house. So 6 years ago, we started doing renovations and little things around the house. Although it wasn't until a little later that we started on YouTube. I mean, we started on YouTube later, but I already had a YouTube channel. The thing is, I used it more for food, more for recipes. And then, well, I changed the name, I made it about a bit of everything, and then I changed the name again, let's say, and made it about renovations. It's just that it's the one called Decorate It Yourself. Actually, the project itself was a website. It was called Decorate Your House. I specialized in search engine optimization and marketing and really enjoy the topic, but for now, I've put it on hold. But in the future, I would like to get back to it again. And so I created a website called Decora Tu Mismo, where I uploaded the projects we were doing in our house. It's still active, and I also have it in the agency. I started doing it like that for the purpose of positioning and to explore a little while I was getting my master's degree. That way, I could apply what I learned on the website. That was basically the process. That's the name I later used for the YouTube channel. Why not get a big van, even if it's old, to move everything more easily? Honestly, I'd love to. The thing is that now, with the expenses we've had from buying the house, plus all the costs that come with the house, it's impossible. Just impossible. So, should the next thing be a van? Yes, it really should be a car, any kind, because mine could break down any day now. Goodbye. But anyway, in the end, we decided to invest in the house, mostly because of the channel. You can't have everything. It'll have to wait. Is the town where the villa is located a tourist destination? What does it offer? What would be the purpose or benefit for those who rent it in the future? Actually, there's not much to do in the town itself. I mean, there are some things around, but I mean things you can walk to. You can go to the pool, the bar, or the small supermarket. There are some things nearby. But it's not a touristy town, like really touristy, like one on the coast. It's more of a mountain town. Maybe people from here come more during the winter, right? They also visit in summer since the beach is nearby. But the price we were looking for, we couldn't find it in a tourist area. We wanted a house that was affordable, even if it needed a lot of work. Dust. Prices triple or double in tourist areas. So since we needed it to fit a specific price, we decided to be a little farther away. Closer to the mountains and having to take the car to go to the beach, but it would fit within our budget. So, does it have tourist attractions? Yes, but the main attraction of the house is the house itself. Whoever rents it can go sightseeing, but I think they'll mostly rent it to enjoy the house itself. That's why we're putting all our effort into the house and trying to find as much entertainment as possible inside the house. Are licenses or permits required to remodel the property? Yes, you need to request this from City Hall. We applied before starting and began after receiving it. In fact, we couldn't even request water without the permits. So the permits are mandatory for everyone, right? Of all the renovations you've done so far, could you give a review and tell me how many things are still in optimal condition? Oh, well, I think that's a great idea for making a video explaining things I love, how they are after a few years, and things I would never do again. There are quite a few of those too, you know? Well, there's a bit of everything. There are things that, over time, I've thought, wow, this has worked out really well for me, and others where I've thought, oh my goodness, why did I put this here? So this is for another video. Oh, my work is piling up, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Will you hire professionals during the renovation? I'm also asking about the outdoor pool. If needed, yes. In fact, this weekend, an electrician was here taking care of the electrical work. I don't really understand, so I don't know. He did electrical work beyond what my father can do. So, we hired him, we paid a lot of money, and that's it. As for the pool, we'll probably have to hire someone for that too, and most likely we'll have to pay for other things as well. There are things that, no matter how much you want to, you just don't have the knowledge, the tools, or everything you need to do them, so it's better to hire someone. What steps do you take to prevent squatters? Is Ajax the alarm system shown? I think I've mentioned this already. We have several alarms, including some we've hired externally and some of our own. And yes, it is Ajax. Have you considered live streaming your home renovations? Yes, I have thought about it. But we're not going to do it because a renovation is very stressful, even more so when you have to record it. So I see it as very difficult. When it comes to actually doing it, I see it as very, very difficult. So probably not unless it's something really simple that I can combine recording with the renovation. Because also, when you're recording, I'm kind of tense. I have so many videos, so many hours of recording, and I had to buy a hard drive like this big to be able to store everything. So when the camera is on, I have to act quickly. Because I know this video is going to be really big and that I'll have to put it in a folder that's also really big and, well, it's going to take up a lot of space. Sometimes it's just silly, unimportant things, but they still need to be recorded. I get really nervous recording, especially if I know people are watching. I don't know if I could coordinate it, honestly, but well, there it is. Maybe someday I'll feel up to it. I would like to see the size of the garden, or at least see it in sections and know what you have in mind to do and where. Get inspired by Lagambalanais, created by French gardener and YouTuber Marvin Atmos. Well, honestly, I always watch his videos. I like them a lot. He has a style that I love, and in fact, he has made a garden that has inspired me a lot. Well, let me see if I go to my phone and look for the photos in the folder. A folder I have with inspiration photos. I have several photos from his videos. Well, actually, the style of the little hut I'm telling you about, with the mesh so you can hold yourself in the water, I want it to be something like this. Look, this is how the hut looks. From here, I'd remove 2 beams and make this mesh so you could lie down in the water, right? Actually, he has a pool like that, kind of like a beach. I don't know how it turned out for him, if he's happy with it or not. I think he's French. I could try writing to him and see his response. What do you think? Actually, I might just do it. He has several small plants here, along with palm trees. I'm not sure if it's called alocasia, but I have that plant at home. I found it in the dumpster in the trash. And it was huge. It was already half dead, and now I have it at home. Incredibly beautiful. And besides, it has spread to many areas, and it looks super cool. Since I see you have it on, I'll copy you. Atmosphere. I really like it. Look. Look how the little pool is made. I don't have more photos here on my phone, Mother of God. Also, I love it because he puts the rocks like that to give it that natural touch, right? And a pool like that, like a beach, I don't know, I love it. Don't you ever argue over renovations? Your family always seems so happy. Yes, we argue. Sometimes it's visible in the video, but not always since I'm not always recording. Yes, we argue a lot, almost every day. I don't know what to say. Not everything is happiness and harmony. There are always disagreements. I mean, it depends on what we consider an argument. I'm talking about an argument like, pick up the bathroom. You left a mess. It wasn't me. And you, what do you have there? The rag hanging? How would I know about that? Sure, we argue, but that's normal. Did you consider moving the staircase to improve the entrance and building a wider, more modern one? No, honestly, we didn't, the staircase. At no point did we think about moving it because that would be such a huge job, incredible. And I don't think it's worth so much effort and money to put it somewhere else because I think it's fine where it is. Where is it? Could it be in a better spot? Yes, but moving it isn't worth the effort. The cost of the house is very high. Whether it's low or high, I think that's a bit relative. We searched for houses under 150,000 euros. Why choose this one? Was it the price or size? Was it in bad shape because of everything? Yes, all at once, really. We chose this house because the price fit our budget. In terms of size, it had the bedrooms we wanted, which were 5 bedrooms, so we could accommodate, let's say, a maximum of about 12 people. And, well, whether it was in better or worse condition, I'll tell you that we didn't really mind, but we preferred it to be in better shape. The better it was, the better for us, right? It was in bad shape, but we saw others that were even worse. You'll see when I show you the others we visited. What styles will the villa have? Mainly it's going to be Balinese style, but especially the Balinese style will be seen on the terrace in the big area. Let's say as I showed in these photos. Inside, it'll be as Balinese as possible, like I mentioned in the other video. Considering that we're not in Bali, we're in Spain, and that there are other conditions that we'll probably have to take into account. It'll be Balinese style with Mediterranean, and likely some Japandi touches. There was even a comment saying, I roughly know where the house is, and the Balinese house doesn't really belong there. It doesn't matter where the house was, because I was going to make it Balinese anyway. I'm not making it Balinese because of its location or style, but simply because it is Balinese. It's more like a tourist attraction. It's a way to set yourself apart from the other houses in the area or in general, to have a distinctive touch that motivates people to rent it. Basically, that's the reason why it's a Balinese house, besides the fact that I love the style. But whether it fits or not, well, that's another story. What is the style like, Balinese villa? Open spaces, furniture, colors, walls, plants, decor, rugs, large windows, ceiling, flooring, lighting. Yes, but does a Balinese villa really have all that still? That's what I'm saying. Remember, we're not in Bali. There are a lot of things to consider when doing the renovation. We also can't do a major renovation since it would take years. So we have to balance things a little and manage as best we can. About open spaces, yes, I would love to open up as much as possible. The type of furniture is very focused on wood. Wall colors are natural tones combined with white, and even some touches of wood on the wall as well. The plants, the decorations, the rugs, and all of that, well, once everything is more or less done, that will be the time to decide on those things. They've finished renovating the villa, I asked because Christina said on Sunday, October 6th, that it was July 20th. No, honestly we haven't, but I can say that today we completely finished the kitchen. In fact, tomorrow we're going to film it. And the kitchen will be ready by the end of November. I don't know the exact dates yet, but it will be by the end. We already have the kitchen, which is a huge step forward for us. Even though it might not seem like it, you think, oh my gosh, since July, all the time that's passed, but progress is just so slow. I mean, when you hire someone, right? When you hire someone, they come and maybe in a couple of weeks you have everything done, but when you do it yourself, everything is so slow. But anyway, we're very happy and very pleased. Where did you get those songs with your names that play in your recent videos? Are they made with artificial intelligence? Basically, are there problems with humidity here? Apparently not, but it's true that water does come in through this door. So it could be a problem if there were leaks to the floor below. So that's the only thing. We need to monitor this wooden door and replace it soon, as it has many holes and lets in water, which could cause humidity problems later. What tools would you say have been the most useful in the renovations you've done? For me, the best one. It's the Moto Pico, which is the Bosch hammer drill for making holes in the walls. That's pure magic because any other drill struggles a lot, but this one does it in no time. It's also great if you want to knock down a wall, if you want to make a hole, basically for all these kinds of things, it's perfect. What else? The same electric sander, Salvado. We've used it often, especially on furniture and doors. You go super fast and get it done right away, whereas if you have to do it by hand, sanding is a very slow process. Clamps might seem silly, but you always need clamps and levels. That's something you just can't leave out of your toolkit. In fact, clamps are something I always end up forgetting. I don't know why I leave them at home, but not the level. The level is super mega ultra important. Double-sided tape seems silly, but it can help position things. I know you asked me about tools, and here I am just going off and saying whatever I want. These are things you might not consider during a renovation, but they're quite useful. Double-sided tape allows you, well, when you have to do some finishing or a corner, or when two parts need to meet at an angle, it lets you stick them together so you can take accurate measurements. For example, I used double-sided tape to attach the LED strip underneath since we have no electricity. I don't know, it's so useful that it's become essential for me. As for tools, I could also mention the regular drill we've always used. Personally, I really like the one from Bosch. Not the jackhammer, but the smaller one. It's handy for screwing, unscrewing, and making small holes in wood. Hole saws, which attach to drills, also work very well. To make holes, for example, to install faucets, to make a hole in furniture and fit it into an outlet, basically for making holes. In drywall, for lighting. Anyway, it really has a lot of uses. The circular saw doesn't chip and works great. The jigsaw blade and regular jigsaw also perform very well. It could also be a must-have, but if I have to choose between the two, I prefer the circular saw for longer cuts because it doesn't chip as much. We would like to know the search process and cost to find out if it was through a real estate agency, a website, or by looking at for sale signs. The search process was online. Since we're quite far away, well, pretty far. About an hour from here, we couldn't come constantly either, so we talked to real estate agencies, and during the same visit, we would see several houses. Until we finally saw this one, it didn't quite convince us at first. We saw others, and after comparing, we said, no, this one, without a doubt. So sometimes you don't appreciate things until you can compare them with others from a different perspective. So we bought it through a real estate agency, and well, around here it's not common to see for sale signs and things like that. As I said, we didn't have time to search or ask around, so we went straight to the real estate agency to be sure. I'm negotiating to buy a house. Do you renovate for others? I don't get a lot of inquiries every day about whether I do renovations for other people and so on, and we don't do renovations for others. That is, unless they're family or friends, because you've probably seen a video where I go to my sister-in-law's house or to a family friend's house, or well, we do renovations. Like for family and friends, but for someone we don't know, no, right? We haven't done it and we don't intend to because, well, that's not what we do. We do it as best as we can, know and want to, but not at a professional level. Well, and that was the last question. So, well, I hope you liked this video. I know I still owe you some other videos that are also quite interesting, especially the one about the house plan, so you can understand it better. Yesterday, in fact, I was already taking exact measurements of each room so I can make the plan again, the 3D plan. Because since we've already knocked down some walls and changed the layout a bit, now that we pretty much have everything, of course, I think it's the right time to make the 3D plan. So I'm going to take advantage of the moment when I do it to record it. That way, I can also show you a little bit how it works. The program I use is very basic and simple with few features, but since you often ask about it, we can use this chance. And if I can help someone to do it, it's really like the Sims program. I mean, when I was younger, I loved playing The Sims. And I would spend hours designing houses. I would go like this, boom, 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 making the designs and all that. And it's very similar because it's very basic and very simple. But it does the job pretty well. So, well, like I said, I hope you liked it. I'll see you very soon in upcoming videos. See you soon.